Today, I wanted to take a look at this thing. I came up with one new specialization for each ability currently in the game and made a PowerPoint presentation for some reason. This man has made a PowerPoint presentation, and I think that whenever someone makes a PowerPoint presentation, it is very worth. This is made by Reddit RoboKid. Let's have a look here. One new spec for each ability in the game would probably end up being in the 4th edition, maybe. Brought to you by my funny stick figures. I love this already. Oh, okay, so there's one specialization per ability that exists in the game currently that this person has invented. Nova Shockwave. Ability type Hold. Okay, so it's like Vein Miner. Hold down the ability button to begin charging up this Nova. Oh no, this would be charge, something we actually don't have the technical infrastructure to do at the moment. But anyway, release after 2 seconds to deal maximum damage, has a similar damage fall off to base Nova, but higher max damage and chance to inflict shocking on mob hits. Oh. Vein Miner Spoonful. Okay, the name itself is amazing. Hold on. Mines twice as many blocks as base Vein Miner, but with 20% reduced mining speed. Interesting. Rampage Mana Twister. Look at the pictures, man. The pictures are amazing. Look at this guy. Look at this artist. He's got a mana bar and everything. An arrow, a fireball, and another arrow. Let's see here. Toggle reduces the mana cost for all other abilities while this ability is active. Would probably need to cost a truckload of mana per second to be balanced. That's a very interesting concept. That's a very interesting. So like you activate it, then you can cast everything else much cheaper, but you're losing a lot of mana because it's active. It's kind of weird. I like the name more than anything. Ghostwalk Phantom, a press ability, so like a cast ability. As opposed to given invisibility, this ability lets you walk on air and pass through walls for a brief time period. If you get stuck in a wall when your time runs out, you will be teleported where you first used Phantom. Ooh! Okay, you know, that's pretty good. I like that. The last part makes this skill-based. I like this. This is the first ability that I think is viable in the game. I really like this. Phantom. Yeah, that's a good name as well. What about doors? Doors don't work that way, so this is fine. Like doors, so the way doors work, treasured rooms and dungeons, they generate when you open the door. So we are actually fine. This is implementable. But that's a very cool idea. Very cool idea. All right, let's see here. I love this picture. Stickman farting. Dash Jetpack briefly enables creative flight, allowing for much more refined mobility. So like, okay, so you press dash and you get creative flight. Like, do you dash forward? And if you do, it would just be better than normal dash. Interesting. Mega Jump Wall Jump. Ability Toggle. Okay, so it would take it would be a Mega Jump specialization, but a toggle allows the user to bounce along a wall to gain higher ground. I think it's interesting. I like the art. Shell Grudge. What is this? Is this a pig? What is this mob? Okay, here we go. A toggle ability, so like Rampage. While this ability is active, all weapon attacks and abilities will lock onto the mob that last attacked you, regardless of the distance separating you two. The enemy currently under a grudge will be marked with a floating eye. This is the floating eye. I thought this was a poop for a second. Okay, I get you now. Yeah, no, that's clearly an eye. I'm stupid. Wait, so if I get attacked by a mob and run away, I can swing in the air and do damage to that mob? That's kind of cool. That's a creative way of looking at things. Yeah, I think so. One problem, I suppose, with it is that you can do this with champions and they can't attack you back, and there's a bit of problems there. But I like the concept. I like the name, Grudge. It's a champ killer, though. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Totem Rush. Here's the totem. It's mad. We gotta get him on the team to be an artist. I love the concept art. It's so good. I'm not joking. I love it. Totem Rush. Drops a totem that increases the CDR for players within the totem's area by a percentage of the current CDR. Okay. Would probably need to have a ridiculously long cooldown to be balanced, like 600 seconds. I like things like this because it takes a little bit of strategy and planning. And I think this guy's right. I think that the balance comes from how often you can cast it, right? But I do like this idea. It's not a bad idea at all. I would even argue that, like, remove all cooldowns. So make all cooldowns be maximum 1 second long inside the radius, so that you can just spam. Heal Maximize. You gotta appreciate that this guy has made many different hearts and not just copy-pasted every heart. They're not the same. They're not the same. They are not the same. This took some time. Adds to the user's maximum health, but does not add to the user's current health. Meant to be a ramp-up ability in conjunction with another healing ability. Has a cap that will scale with ability level and resets upon entering and exiting a vault. Becomes weaker as you eat vault fruit. That's interesting. Complicated, yeah. I think this ability would lend, if we would make another heal spec. I think that we should look into the ward thing, the yellow hearts. It's just a little easier. It's kind of the same thing, but it's a little bit easier to measure. Empower Rewind. There's a guy with poof. Turning on this ability places a return point. Turning it off teleports you to that return point. I think it would be cooler if holding this ability would rewind your state for a max length of 10 seconds or whatever, but that would drain all your mana. But I don't think that's possible technically. Like we'd have to snapshot every game tick and keep it in memory. So I think that would make it super laggy. In regards of making like a return point, I think it has to be a cast ability, more like a totem. Right? You put a totem down, and for as long as that totem is active there, you can return to the totem. And the totem would have like 60-second duration. So if we do a rewind function, I actually think it should be a totem. I think so. I think you put the totem down, and for the next 60 seconds or however long the totem is active, you can press the totem button again and you can return to the totem. The reason we haven't done something like that, because it's actually been discussed in the past, is because our ability system currently can't handle charge abilities and can't handle double cast abilities. Okay, let's move on. Javelin Hook. Here it is, Grappling Hook. I knew there was going to be a Grappling Hook somewhere. Okay, this is like the most requested ability. Fires a single javelin with a rope attached to the player. If it hits a wall, it will reel the player until the player gets close to it. If it hits a mob, it will be reeled towards the user and stunned for 1.5 seconds. There's the pig again! We all love grappling hooks. In every single game, we love grappling hooks. I think the only hard part is like making the physics work and stuff. Hunter Targeter. Okay, so in regards to grappling hook, I think it's technically difficult to make it viable. I like that it's put under javelin, but personally, I think I'd put it under dash. I think so, because I think it competes with dash. Hunter Targeter reveals only the POIs beneficial to the current objective. May or may not affect objectives. So in Elixir, the POIs that are discovered to reward the most Elixir. In Brazier, the POIs affected by the added modifiers. Oof, this gets very complex to think about. So it's skipped this POI in the middle. It's taken this thing and this thing. I think technically that's impossible, because that would require everything to be T's, tile entities. Smite Thunder spell. A hold ability. Hold down the ability button to aim a bolt of lightning to a mob. Release to fire and inflict on-hit effects. If multiple mobs are hit, it will only damage the one with the highest health. Damage would be similar to a single lightning bolt from Archon and have low mana CD requirements. Okay, so it would be like a fast cast spell. Like a proper smite, like a targeted smite. I think the game can handle. I think that could work. I'm very keen to always try my hardest in making abilities and damage types make sense. So we don't have elemental damage in Vault Hunters, because I think most players it can be confusing. Like, why is fire damage better than poison, etc. So anyway, Taunt Decoy. This guy's kicking because he's got a decoy here and all the sheep are going to the decoy. Oh, that's amazing art. Throws out a decoy with health equal to the percentage of the player's health that will distract mobs until they destroy it. The higher the ability level, the more health the decoy will have. I love this one. This is actually really good. This would work in the game. Plug and play, I think. I think it should be a totem though, personally, but maybe it should be under taunt. Really good for pacifism. Stonefall Stomp Up. A press ability. Using this ability while landing on a mob will deal physical damage to the mob and launch you upwards. Higher levels will allow you to use Stomp Up multiple times in a row to get more stomps on enemies, but it will go into cooldown upon hitting the ground. So it's basically like Super Mario, right? Yeah, so you jump on mobs' heads. I like it a lot. This would be very, very skill-based. Let me take this and let me refine it slightly. I don't think it should launch you up in the air. Or maybe it should. But I also think that it shouldn't have multiple charges. I think it should simply reset its own cooldown if you hit a mob with it. Sounds really cool. We'd have to deal with a bunch of things like arrows, projectile, mid-air, ruining the momentum of the player. But it does sound really cool. I like it a lot. Mana Shield Deflect. Press this ability once to deflect all projectiles back to the mobs who fired them for a very brief period of time. These mostly include skeleton arrows, but can also include Dweller Bricks and Champion Blast on hard difficulty. I like this. With one change. I would not make it a press ability, I would make it a toggle. You put the deflect shield on, and now all projectiles just bounces back. Isn't that kind of like the cat trinket? No, cat trinket, yeah, kind of like the cat trinket, but it would be active. Does anyone use the cat trinket? Because I actually think it's pretty good. I think so. I think it's a pretty good trinket in higher level vaults. Fireball Lava Glob. Tosses a glob. What is a glob? Is this a glob? Is this sausage a glob? Tosses a glob of lava that remains on the ground and deals AP damage over time. Oh, okay. So this is the result of the glob. I like the glob. Lava glob. Yeah, it's not bad as long as we make it our own liquid, right? It'd have to be our own liquid that actually does damage because lava does 0.00001 damage. Is it viable? I think so, yeah. I think so. I think you can make a fireball that spawns like a liquid. Ice Bolt Windy Force. I just flew in from the windy sea, mighty putty, but it ain't got what you've got. Hurls a gust of wind in the direction you are facing, farting, knocking back opposing mobs and other players. If used on the ground, the user will be launched up into the air. I love this. A while ago, like a few years ago, we were working on a rocket jump ability. Basically like this, where you would be able to push momentum of your player in the opposite direction of a block you hit. And I would have loved that. I think it's very skill based. It gets you an ability to get movement. Like it's a movement ability, good for pacifists if they can use it right. Skill based, as I say. And yeah, no, I like it. Don't know if it fits under Ice Bolt, but I like it. Okay, there's more. Storm Arrow Brimstone. Fires an arrow that creates a storm of fire and brimstone, inflicting low AP damage while also adding vulnerability levels to and transferring on hit effects. So it's kind of like a better smite and taunt in all in one. Probably too strong, but the art is amazing. So smite transfers on hit but at a slow pace, and taunt gives one ability. So I don't know, would you use the other two abilities if this existed? Maybe, because Storm Arrow is very strong on its own. Battle Cry Effect Chant. This guy's shouting stun. Absorbs the power of nearby mobs and transfers them into increased on-hit effect chances. Yeah, this app 100%. This would fit the game out of the bat. No changes needed. So basically, you increase your chance of landing the on-hit effect that you have on the weapon you're using. Yep. Oh, Farmer Butcher. Didn't think I was going to forget about this one, did you? Gain increased looting levels while this ability is active, especially useful for when the Voltar asks for a ton of meat. This man's cooking, or this woman's cooking, or this whoever is cooking. That's kind of good. Like, you'd have to get insane looting levels, right? Like plus 10, plus 20. But I like that. That's the PowerPoint. Wow, okay. Everyone say thank you to Reddit RoboKid for a great post. I very much enjoyed that. It's very good. It's very, very good.